Nate Albaugh here, and it is a fine day, a cloudy day here, but we've got an hour to talk power, and we've got Andrew Childress in the house out of Warsaw, Indiana. Coach, tell us where Warsaw is.
Yeah, so we're like right outside Fort Wayne, about south of it, about 15 minutes or so. We're a pretty big school, about 2,100 kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been doing strength and conditioning?
So I've been going about 6 years, and then this is my first year here at Warsaw.
Okay, and do you train the whole school, all athletes?
I do. So here has been awesome. They had it already set up for me. They started doing, we have weights classes for regular Gen Pop kids, and then we have our athlete development classes, and then I do stuff. So I basically just train those guys and girls during the school day, and then we have football come in early in the morning, and then we tackle the rest of our athletes that either don't have the class or want to get extra work. We do after school with them.
Now, do you have a program, like a single program that we run all the athletes through? Do you work with each coach? Like how much say does the coach have, or is it just kind of all one and they totally turn it over to you?
So far, everyone has turned it completely over to me, which has been a blessing, because I've definitely been in places where coaches, said like, this is what we've done for 20 years, and that's what we want to do. And when I got here, they're like, here are the keys. You tell us. So that's been a blessing. Mainly, my biggest thing is I keep everything very simple. Everyone has the skeleton. Everyone is going to do the basic. Whatever we're squatting that day, whatever our main emphasis is, everyone's doing it. The only thing that'll change between athletes and sports is if you're in season or out. So we'll adjust the volume and intensity through that. But the exercises stay the same, just to help me out a little bit, since it's just me running it. We have close to 400 plus athletes that we see throughout the day or throughout the week. So I try to keep it as basic as I can, and then we'll modify within that. Now, if a coach comes to me and says, "Hey, we're having a lot of shin splints, or we're having this, or we're having that," that's when we make the individual adjustments, either to that individual or to the whole team.
Now, is having a strength coach, has Warsaw had that for a long time, or is that fairly new to Warsaw?
Yeah, so there was a guy in place before me, and he was here for, I think, 2, maybe 3 years, did a great job, and then he just decided, I think he went to private sector, and the role opened up, and I think they really like it, especially on the coaches' end, because now it's one less thing that they have to worry about, and it brings someone in like myself that truly lives sport performance, and comes in and can run with it and roll with it, and just kind of take that little extra burden off the coaches.
Well, I'm excited to hear from you, Coach. We're going to take a short little break here, a little commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk. Now, I jumped on Coach Childress here like at last second and said, "Hey, I don't need you to prepare a presentation. Let's just talk some basic do's and don'ts for a guy that doesn't have a strength coach on board." And so we're going to talk that when we come back from our little commercial break.
And persevere unto the end, you're going to have failure. You're not always going to have success. You're going to get beat. You're going to go to practice, and it's going to feel like a giant waste of time. You're going to have a kid that gets suspended on game day. You're going to have a teacher that comes to you telling you that your best player is a moron in the classroom and that he should be kicked out of school. There's all these things. And I always say, man, just keep working. Just keep working. I'm talking to myself. Just persevere. Chop wood. I'm not going to give up on these boys until the school removes them from me.
has moved, and it looks like, I'll tell you what, I want to go see Warsaw High School. You guys look like you got some beautiful facilities there. What's out that window?
Yeah, so we just built this about a year ago. We have four full-size basketball courts that go all the way down. And then we use it for volleyball, and then we have about a half a size track that goes around it.
That's nice, man. That's nice. I didn't realize that. I honestly, when you said 2000, I didn't know that Warsaw was quite that big. Coach Curtis has spoken for Chief Pigskin a couple times, and that's how I got connected with him. I knew he had gone to Warsaw from Mishawaka. I didn't realize Warsaw was so big, but you guys. Looks like he said the football team's like 6-2 right now.
We are. We had a tough loss on Friday. We came down to 22-21. It was a nail biter, but yeah, we're doing well though. So
yeah, well, he's a great football coach. Well, Coach Childress, again, I didn't give you any time to prepare for this, so I really appreciate you jumping on with us to talk strength and conditioning. For 20 years, I've coached football for 20 years, and this is the first time. This is week 9 of the Power Hour where I have taken time to get with strength and conditioning coaches to actually learn something, right? I was doing it entirely on my own without having asked anyone any questions. I can't, when I say that out loud now, it's very shameful, but that's where I was. So I got to believe there's probably other coaches out there. Can you think of anything, like if a guy's out there, he is the strength and conditioning guy at his school, let's say, right? He doesn't have a guy on staff that is certified. Maybe he's not certified. Where's a starting point? Maybe if we start, whether it's easier, if you think to start with 1 or 2 don'ts, like just try to avoid blank and we're on the right track.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one thing is don't chase numbers. And that was something I learned very early because when I started my career, I was with young kids, and I remember myself being back then. I wanted the biggest bench press on the team, and I did everything I could. I lifted heavy all the time, and that's probably what ended up for me to get hurt. But a lot of times that's what, you walk into a weight room and that's the first thing you see is those big boards with those big numbers. Now, I'm not saying having really, really strong kids isn't great, but when that's what your main focus is, it tends to take away from everything else and the standard, the culture, because now that's what we're just number driven. And that's where you see injuries tend to fly up is we're loading up way too much before the kid's ready. I think that's number one. Number 2, don't is I would see number 2 don't would be, just taking it, just take it easy. Don't rush to get to the finish line. I guess it kind of goes back to the number thing. We want to don't rush to get to the power clean or rush to get to a heavy back squat. We want to take your time. Maybe start with a goblet squat, start with, the basics and get to where you need to be. And then, take it, slow cook them. Most times you get 4 years with these kids. So it's not going to happen overnight. So don't rush the process.
Those are a couple of good things, and I really appreciate that. Looks like you got some kids coming in or something. So I understand how that goes. That's what life is like when you're at school. Yeah. And I think those are some great things for me to hear because I probably have been much too number driven. How do I motivate kids if I'm not number driven? What else do I have to motivate these kids? Because, my big boards were great for motivating my kids. Absolutely. And we celebrated them. So how do I motivate these kids and keep them excited about strength training if it's not the numbers? Absolutely.
And I'm a big relationship guy. Like I'm the first guy that's going to come. I bring the juice every day. Like I want to be that guy that's, excited, pumped up, ready to be there. And that's how I try to, bring that to them as well. But really getting to know the kids. Like I think most of the kids, they think that we're only out here for a certain reason or we only care about them during their season. But with my role, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Like, I'm here for you. We're going to talk. And I think that builds the buy-in so that they're more driven and they see that like the reasoning behind what we're really doing and why we're doing it and why the numbers isn't a big thing. It's like, we got to move well so that way you can perform well. And a lot of times they may not understand it the first time you talk to them. So you got to really kind of build it up. And, most kids, especially in that high school, it's kind of tricky. They're going through that adolescence, that rebel phase where they don't want to listen to anyone. So just taking the time to get to know them. But one thing that we've done is we make shirts and then we hand them out. And then, the kids that demonstrate the best qualities, like either the lifter of the week that showed, that wasn't necessarily the lifting the most weight, but he got after every set. He partner coached. He was a great teammate in the weight room. They're going to get a shirt. And the kids love that. I mean, every kid loves to have a shirt. One thing we try to, get them up on social media and just kind of, show them that they're doing a great job and they're doing everything the right way. And most kids want that. They want to be recognized, and it's worked really well for us in the past.
Now, a question I have, and this one just kind of came to me as you started to talk about T-shirts and lifters of the week. And one thing that I've heard a lot over the years, and one thing I want to make sure that my kids are doing is I want them to be accountable for their own strength program. And I want them to, not necessarily just be walking in lifting random amount of weight, right? I'm going to grab the 20s because they were closest. Or, however, when it came to like tracking a workout, when I start getting like 50 sheets of paper floating around a weight room, that gets really messy too. So like, what do you guys do to kind of give kids that accountability of their workout, but yet not have anything that's cumbersome running around the weight room or something you can't track? How do you guys keep track of that and handle that?
So we're very fortunate. Every kid at the school has a tablet. And one thing that we try to do is I only record the main lift of the day. So we'll record a deadlift, we'll record a squat, and then we'll record the bench press. So that's the only thing, the main one that we're working on that day. And then after that, everything is kind of just try to go up as heavy as you can. So I work off of an APRE system where every day it's going to be adjusted based on how they feel, because some of these kids are playing 2 sports. Some of them are going to football, and then afterwards they're going to basketball. So they're not going to be fresh every single day. So what we try to do with these tablets is we'll have them, they jot it down. They'll say, all right, I did this much weight for this many reps. And then I've found a formula on Google that shot out an estimated max. And then every time they come in, I say, hey, this is your estimated max. Go find it on the percent board. And then that's what we're aiming to get. And then based on how they feel, if they get more reps, so let's say if it's right now we're in season with football, so I'm asking some lifts, I'm asking APRE is 6. So if they hit 8 to 10 reps, I'm like, hey, we need to bump that up. You're feeling good, so let's let it ride a little bit on certain lifts. And then other times I can say, hey, you only hit 1 rep with that, and we need to bring you down just so that way you're not overtraining and potentially getting hurt. So I only do just the 3 lifts for that day. And then after everything else, it's basically we're just moving whatever they can.
And what does APRE stand for?
It's autoregulatory perceived exertion. So it's all based on how they feel, which I love because it accommodates and adjusts. So if a kid, he was up late last night studying. So, their nervous system, they may not be in the best mood to train, the best mood to play. I'm sure you've seen it over the years, especially during right now is our midterms. Kids are coming in, they're sluggish. And plus we're about at the end of the season. So we're just drained. So we may not get the best lift possible. So it allows them to, all right, hey, our goal is to hit 6 reps with our predicted 6 rep max. And then if you crush it, I mean, hey, we're in a good spot. Like, hey, you recovered, you had a great weekend, you did all the right things, and you're ready to go. But hey, sometimes you got banged up on Friday night and you're still not ready to go. So it allows us to make that individual adjustment, kind of like what we talked about earlier, where every team gets the same program, but within that program, it's going to be individualized based on how they're feeling. So if they're good to go, we're going to push it as much as we can and within a safe volume range. But if they're feeling down, that's going to adjust our volume a lot. So that way we're not overtraining them and they're able to recover and get back to where they need to be by Friday or whenever the next game is.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how many times a week do your athletes train?
So it kind of depends on the week. Some weeks we do a modified schedule. So on Mondays, like every 3rd Monday, we do an e-learning day. So all our kids are at home. So we don't get them on those days. But we'll see every kid 3 times a week.
Okay.
So except for with football, sometimes we'll see them 4 times a week because we do bring some kids in early in the morning for our 0 hour. And then, so they'll get an extra day. And those are a lot of our freshmen that'll come in, or a lot of younger guys that we're trying to, get them used to our system, get them used to the culture, and just basically just get them used to waking up and getting ready to work. So we see everyone guaranteed 3. Sometimes we see them 4, and it's worked really well. And then within classes, we either get 90 minutes with them or we'll get 45.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you coming on as we kind of wind this down here, and don't want to take too much of your time here while you're there training kids. What are some things, like I said, just wrapping up, hey, a guy that doesn't have a strength coach on staff, just kind of start here. Where would you kind of sum that up?
Yeah, start with the basics. Use dumbbells. Before that, use body weight. Teach the kid how to move. If the kid knows, it's like teaching someone how to fish. You can show them how to fish, or you can fish for them and they'll eat for a day. But if you show them how to fish, same thing. Basically, you show them how to do things the right way with body weight, then it's just everything. Then if you are a numbers guy, that's how it's going to build up, because you can basically turn around and know that they're going to do the right thing. So start with the most basic, simple thing with the body weight squat. Have them do push-ups, chin-ups, and then maybe if you don't have enough equipment, as you build that equipment, now you can expand your repertoire and then keep going. But yeah, for me, start with basics, and then by the time they're a senior, then you can get fancy.
I appreciate that. And there's some do's and don'ts from Coach Childress there. Really appreciate your time. How can everybody find you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at Warsaw Strength and Conditioning.
All right, look him up, guys. I'll try to put that in the chat or something below as well. Sure. Thank you guys all for joining us here for the Power Hour. Like, subscribe to the channel. Those things really help. And look up Coach Childress. Coach, thanks for your time, and good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day.